So we're here at 171, trying to complete the challenge, taking a metal ROT, which we have a metal ROT here. We already took the end panel off. These just lift right off. We got that end panel sitting right here, as you can see. And then we have a wood ROT, which was convenient for this test, sitting right next to it. We already took out the end panel for this as well. So that end panel sitting here. Normally, you could see on the back side of these, there's thread that is manufactured in. You could see one of the old bolts right here. Those are the way these are supposed to be installed, but over time, the bolts got lost or whatever, and the contractors are just setting these with drywall screws. This is how that one was installed. But anywho, going into how to actually get this done, we have two different options for our team to review. Option one, which is my preferred option, if you take a look at this from the side, there's these posts right here that are welded onto this crossbar. These are used to go into the ROT upright, and then you just lift them up. You can see right here in this teardrop, you would just lift it up and down. What I'm proposing when we take these over to the wood is just to take a grinder and grind that post off on the bottom as well. And then you can see here, we already drilled a couple holes out for the test. What you're gonna do is drill a hole here and here, and then you'll do it on the bottom in the same places. You have to go a little higher on the bar because one of these grid bars are kind of centered right in the middle of here. So just to make it easier, we went up just a little. But what you'll do is you'll come over here. You'll get your, mind you, the posts would have already been grinded off, which we're not going to do here because we don't have a replacement to put back up for the store. But you're going to get it all lined up, have someone hold it for you, use a clamp. You would have already pre-drilled your holes into that bar, and then you're just going to take a drywall screw at this point, which I guess I can do so you can see. So I'm going to take a drywall screw, and I'm going to get it lined up with my hole. So I'm going to run my drywall screw into this wood end panel, just so I have a pilot hole. Now I'm going to go ahead and back the screw back out. Now I didn't come prepared because I didn't know what the solution to this was going to be, but now I have a hole here in my end panel. I would then at this point go ahead and take a drill bit, drill this all the way through this panel so I have a nice hole to fasten this. And then we're going to take some 3/4 inch bolts or 1 inch bolts, and then we're going to run it through our bar. Let me take the screw out of here. And I apologize, we don't have the bolts to show you. But I'll run a bolt through that grid bar, through the end panel, put the nut on the inside, and then fasten it to the wood end panel. And then you do that 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and then it's never going to come off. Probably use a locking washer and a washer too, so it's biting on a little more of the wood. That way if someone hits one of these with the end panel using a bolt, it won't fly off. Instead of, do not use screws, because you can only use like a 5/8 inch screw, and if someone hits this with the card, it's going to rip right out. Option 2, we're not going to do here. Like I said, we don't have a replacement, but this would work perfectly fine. One thing I didn't mention earlier in the video is I already slid the Martech out from the top. You can see it laying on the ground there. So that slides right out. That way you can work on this. So option number 2 would be to take a grinder and then to completely cut off this bar right here on both sides and just completely remove the bar. Same thing on the bottom. Then what you would do is In this case, you wouldn't need to remove the Martech panel, so I would slide that back in at this case. Bars are gone. I'd get this lined up, and then I would just go ahead and run probably probably 6 bolts this time, but drill out the Martech panel and run the bolt right through the Martech and then through the other side. This one's going to take a little longer, and the disadvantage to it is you're going to see the screws from on the outside. Now, if it's merchandise, you probably wouldn't notice them. The advantage to the second option is this bar is going to be gone, so you're not going to have a gap back here. Now, mind you, this gap we're looking at now is just way bigger than it would actually be in a store because we didn't grind these posts off yet. So I probably got 3/8 of an inch closer. If you look at an actual ROT, this installed on the run as it is, there already is a gap, so this isn't really changing anything. But the advantage of the second option, cutting the bar off, this end panel would pretty much sit flush with this. The labor is going to be probably double using the second method, cutting the bars off. So it's all just aesthetic. If we're okay with, right now I probably got a 3/4 inch gap. If you take 3/8 off of it, you're not going to have too much left there. So as long as we're okay with it, then we're good to go. But there's 2 options that will work, so that's good, and we'll let everyone decide what the right one is.